This conference will now be recorded.
Here, we can continue with this storage. The agenda for today's session. So here, we are going to discuss about this object storage. So here, under object storage, there are two types of object storage. One is S3, Amazon Simple Storage Service, and another one is Glacier. We are going to start our discussion on this Amazon Simple Storage Service. Okay, here in Amazon Simple Storage Service, what we do? So here, we want to create a container called as a bucket. Okay, bucket is nothing but a container under which all the files that we are interested can be stored here. So in analogy, so in terms of operating system, you can consider this bucket as a directory under which we can organize the multiple files, file 1, file 2, etc. Here the objects that we can store here is not only text, we can able to store all multimedia objects, like we can store audio files, we can store video files, etc. We can store documents and PDFs, etc. etc. So once you upload an object into this bucket, what happens here is, okay, here URL will be assigned to the uploaded objects. For example, if you are uploading a file 1, URL will be assigned to the file. Then to whom that you want to share that file, okay, that you want to share the URL to the concerned user, and the users, for example, I am Raman, I am uploading a file, a document file, let me make it as a file 1. So I want to share this to Saravana, and I want to share this to Kalyan instance. What I need to do? I need to send the URL to Saravanan and Kalyan. Even Saravanan and Kalyan does not need a cloud access. Okay, they no need to get into a cloud account to access the concerned file 1 that has been shared by Rama. So here they can make use of the URL in any one of the device, either in their desktop or in their laptop or in the mobile or in the tablet. They open a browser and simply if they paste the URL without connecting, without actually Saravanan and Kalyan get connected with the cloud, they can able to access the particular file that has been shared to them. That is the advantage of going for this S3 compared to that of the EBS, what we have discussed previously. Okay, here in EBS, what do you need to do? Here too we created a volume. And if you want to perform any actions, if you want to perform any read or write action, and then here it need to be attached with the instance. Then in this case, it is not mandatory. S3 is also a volume. Then you can directly access the information, or if you want in certain cases, you can attach the S3 into the instance. Okay, it is up to the choice to decide. The user can have a direct access, or the user can have a access through means of instance. Both the thing is possible. Today's discussion is going to be how to create a storage container, that is a bucket, and how to upload objects and how to share the URL to make access to the object. And apart from that, this S3 is meant for several purposes. So here you can also configure S3 to act as a static web server. You can configure a static web server here in S3. In our previous session, I think so we configured web server. Okay, we created a Ubuntu instance, or we created a Amazon Linux instance, and we installed this HTTPD daemon. Okay, in for Ubuntu we installed this Apache web server, and we started the services, and then we created a file by name index.html, a simple web. Okay, so this file here is located in a particular path, directory path. Whenever you start the service and open the URL, then the index.html, which is a static web server, is displayed. So these are all the things that we discussed in our previous session. I think so. Is it, Saravanan? Can you please let me know before whether we discussed how to configure a web server?
Yes, sir. It's the second or first day we saw that.
Yeah, yes. Okay, here, instead of getting an instance and doing all those things, what we can do, simply we create this index.html, and we can make use of this S3 to act as a static web server. That is one of the key things associated with service. So apart from that, we can also make use of S3 with some other functionalities. So we are going to discuss about what are all the additional functions that we can do with, what are all the unique features associated with S3, and a hands-on on how to create. Okay, so this is the first part of our agenda. The second part of our agenda here, we are going to discuss about how to configure a ELB, Elastic Load Balancer. So you know how to configure a web server. By using this, we will let you know the concepts behind configuring Elastic Load Balancer and how to work with this. This is the agenda for today's session. Okay, let me first start with the concept of S3 storage. Here, you want to create a bucket. It's nothing but a bucket is nothing but a container. So another difference. So the first difference in between this EBS and S3 is here the EBS, if you want to perform a read and write of data, it needs to be associated with an instance. Whereas in S3, it is not necessary to associate with the instance. Okay, that is the first thing. Whenever you upload anything, automatically URL will be assigned. Okay, so in terms of here the difference between S3 and Glacier. S3 and Glacier serves for same purpose. So the difference between S3 and Glacier is the first difference is cost. In terms of cost, which one is a cost effective? Glacier is cost effective. So for example, if you want to pay, let me assume rupees 10 in S3, the same thing in Glacier, you want to pay only 1 rupee. But the difference is in terms of its performance. So if you want to perform a read and write immediately, okay, the data access immediately, S3 is recommended. So if you want to perform a read or write action on Glacier, it took minimum 2 to 4 hours. If you want to invoke a request, and then Glacier will initiate the process, and it took minimum 2 to 4 hours to get the requested information. So therefore, whether your application can withstand delay or not based upon that, and the second factor based upon the cost effective solutions that you are aiming at, you can work with S3 or Glacier. If you look into cost alone, if your application doesn't bother about the performance, you can go with this Glacier. If your application want to access data real time, then Glacier is not the recommended choice, S3 is the recommended choice. So these are all the differences between EBS, S3 and Glacier. Okay, so now we move on to the discussion on this bucket. Okay, so what we are going to do in this particular another difference, the major difference associated with here in terms of EBS, here as I already discussed, the instance and the volume need to be under the same availability zone. Okay, it should be under the same availability zone, both the instance and the volume that we are going to attach, then only you can able to attach. Whereas in this case of a bucket, in this case of S3, so you want to create a bucket. So the bucket is accessible through the entire region. So in all irrespective of any availability zone, you can able to access the bucket throughout the region. So you created a bucket in one region. Okay, let me imagine you created a bucket under the Mumbai region. You want to access this bucket, okay, in another region, such as US Virginia, North Virginia region. How it is possible? Yes, you can able to perform a cross region replication. Cross region replication. If you want to ensure your data across multiple regions, there is a key feature called cross region replica, using which you can replicate your data across regions, by which the customers in US can able to access information from the bucket that has been created in the US, and customers in and around Asia can able to access the data from the bucket created in the Mumbai region. So this is possible. So the access is throughout the region. Whereas here in case of EBS, the access is within the availability zone, within the same availability zone, it is restricted. So this is another difference. Okay. So what we are going to do, so then another thing, the thing that you want to take into consideration while you are creating a bucket, The bucket name should be unique throughout the region. We can't have two buckets with the same name in a region. It should be unique within the region. Okay. So if you create a bucket, for example, let I create a bucket by name RAM6 and I dropped the bucket. Okay, I deleted the bucket instance. Here the RAM6 name are also removed, but immediately I can create another bucket and I can't assign the same name RAM6, okay, under the same account and under the same region. So here, even though the name has been relieved from the bucket, you can't use it immediately. It will be assigned to some other users. Okay. So if you want to reuse, once again, there is a limited time duration. I think so. It is 1 week or 10 days. I think so. They have changed. After that only you can make use of the same name assigned to the bucket in under your account. So these are all some of the information that you need to aware of. Okay. So here the agenda that we are going to do, we are going to create a bucket and then we are going to upload some files into the bucket and we are going to set some permissions, a public access permissions instance, access public permission to the file that we have uploaded, and I will share you the URL associated with the file. From your end system, you guys can able to view the content of the file. Okay, this is the agenda. So once it is over, I will let you know how to drop the bucket, and this is the practical associated with, and we will discuss about some features. Around 8 to 9 features are there, similar to cross region replica, etc. We will discuss about those features. Okay. First, let I connect with these AWS to create a bucket. Okay, here we can find this S3 under the storage tab. S3 under the storage tab. So these are all the buckets that it is already present. Okay. So I have bucket by name Raman 6, replica 6, sample SMI 66. Okay. So here the bucket is created in the particular regions. Okay, Asia Pacific, any region that you can create. Okay, then here the access permissions that has been set as objects can be public. You need to set the permission. Okay, access permission for the bucket. Now I will show you how to create a bucket in a particular region. You can find the bucket creation does not require any region selection. Okay, you can create a bucket at any region. You can access bucket across any regions. So now let I create a bucket. Click on create a bucket. Now it prompts you for the name and region. Okay, so here the bucket name. You can have the bucket name as Circle. Okay, the bucket name is Saravanan Kalyan. You can choose the region, any region that you can choose. Let me create under the region North Virginia. Okay. US is North Virginia. And then here the another option, copy settings from an existing bucket. What do you mean by that? Here, if you already created another bucket by the okay, so you can set permissions in that bucket. So you can set the user access permission in that bucket. So if you want to set the same set of permissions, here there is a bucket 1 already created. You have bucket 1 already created. So it is assigned a certain access permissions. So you can set these access permissions, okay, either by using two things. One, by using bucket policies. We define bucket policies, okay. Using these bucket policies, you can define who can access and what access is permitted. Okay, you can also make use of another thing called ACL, access control list. These are all the two ways by which we can set permission. Another way, based upon user permission, you can make use of another service called IAM, Identity and Access Management. Based upon the user, you can set the permission. For example, I want user Saravanan want to perform a read and write activity. I want the user Kalyan to perform only read activity. Like I can set permissions here, and Saravanan can read and write all in all the buckets. Okay, Kalyan can make a read in a particular bucket. The bucket that is assigned under the name. The name is okay, Saravanan. Kalyan is the name of the bucket. In that bucket, okay, the Saravanan can perform read and write under the Saravanan and Kalyan, whereas Kalyan can perform this. Like this sort of permissions we need to set using IAM user. We can set using bucket policies, or if you want to set permission based upon Amazon user account. If Saravanan and Kalyan is having Amazon user ID, okay, so that is your cloud ID. That if that permission need to be set based upon ID, you can go for this ACL. ACL stands for access control. So as we have set certain permissions. Now I am creating a bucket, a new bucket, bucket 2. So the bucket 2 that I am creating here want to assign the same set of permissions from bucket 1 means I no need to set it separately. Simply I can invoke these options, copy settings from my existing bucket. What are all the permissions and what settings that has been made in the bucket 1 automatically is applicable to bucket 2 also. So that is the option. Here we are not going to set any permission. Simply we are going to create a bucket. The name of the bucket is circle and then region is US East. Okay, next. You can directly create a bucket here. Okay, click on create. Okay, now you can find a subcall. Saravanan Kalyan, a bucket name is created. Bucket and objects are not public. That is the key thing by default. Okay, the bucket and object is not public. Now you click this bucket. It will take you, okay, to another screen. You are now into the buckets Kalyan. Now you can upload an object. You can set the properties to an object. You can set object permissions, use access control list, etc. etc. Now the bucket is empty. What I am going to do, I am going to add some new things into the bucket. Okay, so you can set the properties of the bucket like versioning, server access log, static web hosting, object level logging, default encryption. Okay, so you can set this. Apart from that, you can set permissions, public access, access control, bucket policies. These are all the permissions associated. Okay, you can set some additional thing, bucket life cycle. We can make a cross region replica. You can perform analytics on top of the data creator. Like so, these are all the activities that we can create with the bucket. First, what we are going to do? First, we created a bucket and we are going to upload a small file into the bucket, and we are going to show you how this is accessible from your endpoint. Okay, so now I get it into the bucket. So this is the main screen. So this is the bucket. I click this, it will take you to the into the bucket. Now you can find under Amazon S3, I am under circle. Now I am going to upload a file. Simply click on upload. Okay, so here I want to choose the file. Click on add file. Okay, so let I add some objects. So any object, let I add this train engine. Okay, so it is of 288 KB of size. Okay, so here whenever if you want to add more files, you can click add more files. Here you simply click on upload here. Okay, so here you can set permissions, you can set properties, etc., etc. If we go and click on next, simply what I am going to do, simply upload. Here you can find there is a tag called started and it is successful. Once it is applied, okay, it is successful. The data is successfully uploaded into the bucket. Now the bucket S3 contains one items. Okay, if you click on this, you will get the information associated. The owner is the account owner Sanjay. The last accessed time is 9:37 a.m. And then here the storage class. We have different storage classes that we will discuss. Standard. Okay, the size of the object is 288 KB, and then the name of the file is train engine. Now you can find a new URL has been assigned to the object. A new URL has been assigned to the object. Okay, copy the link address, open a browser, simply Control V, and I paste it. I will also share you. You try with your machine in the chart window. In the chart window, okay, so please check it. You open a browser and you copy this same URL in our browser and verify whether you can able to view the particular image. Saravanan Kalyan, please kindly do it. Yes?
I can
Yes,
see.
I can open it.
You can open.
But I'm getting the same message
The
like
same
access.
error. Okay, access denied error. You should get access denied error. Why
Right.
so? Because when you upload anything into the bucket, okay, by default, now you can look into the properties. By default, the bucket property that we have set, okay, by default is not a public. Okay, so you want to make it as a public in terms of permissions. Now you can find it is not a public access. So what you need to do, you want to set a public access permissions to the bucket. Therefore, now you can find manage public bucket policies. Okay, here block new public policies, block public and cross account access if the public has public policies. Both the thing has been set as true by default. Okay, that means the bucket by default is not set as a public, it is a private. Okay, nobody can able to access the information if it is set as a private. Therefore, what you need to do, you want to first change the property from true to false. You want to change the bucket property. Here you go on, click on edit here. You go on, click, there is a small tag called edit tag, click on edit. Here, manage public bucket policies for the bucket. So you want to uncheck. You want to uncheck and you want to save it. Okay, updating the Amazon S3 block public access settings will affect this bucket and all the objects within. Okay, to confirm the setting, type confirm in the field. Confirm. And you click on confirm. Now the policy has been set. Public access settings updated successfully. You kindly make a note here under the permission, move to the bucket under the permission tag. Okay, click public access settings and click on edit and you uncheck the phone. Now you can find that instead of true, it was now changed into false. Okay, manage public bucket policy has been changed into false. Next, move to the property or overview. Okay, you can move to the overview. Now, you click on this. You simply click this. And there is an option by name, make public. If you click make public, then it will give you a success message. Click on make public. So now, access denied. Why access denied? Okay. So, here it is not taken into effect. Go to permissions tab. Access to this object ACL, okay. Read permission, okay, no need to worry about. Now check it. So now the policy has been taken into the effect. Public access settings. Now it took some time. Okay, let me wait for that. So once it is set, let me upload another file. Click on add file. Now let me add a bulldozer. Okay, so read write access, manage public permissions. Do not grant public read access. Click on grant public read access to this object. Public read access. Okay, next. So storage class. So okay, you please make a note. So in terms of storage, first we have a standard storage, and then we have a standard infrequent access, and we have standard okay, one zone infrequent access and glacier, and finally reduced redundancy. Kindly make a note of this. So in terms of storage, whenever you upload anything into the bucket, it will be first stored in the first option, standard storage. Okay, so here your data will be stored in standard storage at first. Here in this case, the data will be replicated across more than one locations. In case if there is a failure of data in only on any one location, you can still able to access the data from other locations. So if you are frequently using the data, now the data need to be under the standard storage. The second option, okay, intelligent tidying. Long lived data with changing or unknown access patterns has been stored here. Okay, here you want to have some intelligent access information, the data which is frequently accessed, how the user is not accessing, but the data is frequently accessed and need to be stored in a location where the retrieval should be fast instance. You want to move from standard into intelligent tidying. Okay, here you want to pay additional fees per object fees that you need to pay for. Okay, so for making the data, you need to invoke a monitoring service using which it will monitor and it will identify which data is frequently accessed, and it will keep the data in the particular area. Therefore, the user, whenever you want to access information from this area, instead of standard, then it will fetch the data in a little bit quick manner compared to that of standard storage. For that, you need to pay for. So your data is less accessible. Okay, after a particular period of time, you are not frequently accessing your data. Therefore, what we can do, now we can move the data into another storage hierarchy called standard IA, infrequently accessed. So infrequently accessed data here, what you will have is, being the data is not frequently accessed here, the retrieval access time is okay, very less compared to that of here the standard or intelligent tidying. In this case, if you have data moved into this infrequent access, so here you will be little bit having a little bit more retrieval compared to the time compared to that of standard. For example, here if the retrieval time, let me take it example, or you have it under the standard, you are going to retrieve of initially a standard storage. This is the default. Okay, so here you have the object from the standard storage. You are using the object less frequently, so you keep this object for 60 days in standard. After that, you can instruct to move into infrequent access. Here, once the object has been moved, when a user issue a request, for example, if it is in standard storage, assume within 10 microseconds if it is retrieved. If you move into infrequent access, it took 12, 13 microseconds. That's all. but the cost is little bit low. For example, here imagine that the cost is rupees 10 instance. Here you need to pay rupees 8 because of its less degraded features. Here the data is moved to another levels of storage, okay, with less cost storage. Therefore, the retrieval time is slow. And here too, in infrequent access, you have again multiple replicas. You have multiple copies of your data. So you feel that you no need to maintain more than one copy. Okay, so here you can have only one copy. You no need to copy across the multiple availability zone means you can go with this option 3. Okay, one zone infrequent access. Here the data will be kept only in one zone infrequent access. Instead of having multiple copies, here you will be having only one copy. So here if your data moves here, being you have maintaining only one copy, so assume that you need to pay less compared to that of infrequent access. In this case that we take, you need to pay 5 rupees or 6 rupees for your data. So you can retain data here in one zone infrequent access, and laterly you want the data to move into Glacier means it can move here. The storage cost will drastically reduced to rupees 1 in Glacier. You can retain data here at some part of time. What you can do, you can drop the data. So this is the flow how which the data is inputted into the standard. From you can move into infrequent access. From there it is moved into a one zone infrequent access, and after a number of days it can move into the Glacier, and finally it can be dropped. So this is the flow that it is specified here. Okay, you can specify the storage class. Now I can make it as a standard storage. Now you can find we have one file here. The properties it is not encrypted, the storage class is standard, and you click on upload. Now the file will be uploaded. Okay, it is now uploaded. These are all the properties. Once you click, you can show these are all the properties. Now you can find. So all the properties has been disabled. We will discuss about the properties. Public access settings is enabled. Okay. We have not defined any bucket policies. Here public access settings has been enabled. Click this. Why it is not showing? So we have uploaded in another location. Frame engine. Okay. So click on simply upload. Why it is not reflecting? Okay, now here you can find. So here if it is subcar, okay, still the object is not reflected. Okay, now we can find the buckets and objects are not made as public. even though it is enabled, okay, so it is not made as public. Let me wait. Edit public access, we have already blocked, okay, so block new public access. Here this is set as a public. Save. To confirm the settings, type confirm in the field. We have confirmed. Confirm. Yeah, now only you can find object can be public here. Now you can find object has been changed into public. Initially I think so we forgot to click on save. If you click here, if you now reference here, now you can find objects can be public. Click on, choose the object, okay, go to actions and you click on make public. Yes, now object should be made public. Okay, click on object, so make public. Now you can get a success message. Okay, you will get a success message. So after that, if you kindly refresh now you can able to access the object. Now you can find the train engine is accessible. Okay, being it is a 3MF file, you can download under the following location. Save. It will save it into a following location. This is the way by which, so being there is no tool to view that. This is the train engine. Okay, that is uploaded. So you can even upload a small image file, JPEG file, so that you have a. You try now. You try now the same set of things. Here you can download the object into the location. You try now and let me know.
Yes, it's working.
Now it is showing. So so what we need to do first, you want to make the settings of the particular bucket. You want to verify whether the bucket is allowed object access as a public. So whenever you create, let I create another bucket, name of the bucket. For example, it is Raman 666. Okay, I create the same bucket. Yes, when I first create a bucket, what happened here is the bucket will be created. Bucket name already exists. Therefore, what I am doing now, that I make it Rama 666. Create. So bucket name already exists. So let me create GS ROM 666. Throughout the here the bucket is created GS ROM. Now we can find buckets and objects are not public. Okay. Therefore, what you need to do first, you want to make it as public. Click on. Go to this property, okay, and you want to make it, okay, so edit public access settings. Here you want to make it as a public. What is which property? You want to set this permission property. Under permission property, block new public access policies has been made as true. You want to edit and you want to uncheck it and you want to click on save. Okay, and it asks for you type confirm. Click on confirm and click here confirm here. Now it took some time. So why it is causing unexpected error? I don't know. Use the Amazon S3 bucket policy. Okay. So to confirm, click confirm. Yeah, yes. Public access settings updated successfully. Now, if you move and if you find GS from bucket and object still is not public, let me refresh. Okay, it took some time. It took some time to make it as a public. Okay, until then we need to wait for that. We have the public access settings. Okay, already the public access settings have been saved, but it took some time to reflect. That is the reason. Okay, it took minimum some time to reflect. Now we can find after that objects can be made as a public. It has been changed from the bucket and objects not public as objects can be made as a public. Okay, it took some time. After that only I can upload anything and to make it as a public. Let me upload an image. Okay, so that you can able to view the image from your screen instead of directly download. You can upload some pictures. Okay, let me upload this flower. It is a JPG. Simply click on upload. Now we can find it is successful. Okay, now the flower is uploaded. So here now the bucket is made as public. Now the bucket permission is made as public. Whenever you upload an object, here we uploaded a JPEG, flower.jpg, that is not made as a public. Therefore, what you need to do, you want to make this as a public. Therefore, click this flowers.jpg. Under there is a tag called make public. Click on make public. Then only now you need to get a success message. If you don't change the settings of assigning a public permission to bucket and try to do this, it will result in an error. Okay, first step you want to make this bucket as a public. After that you upload the object and you make the object permission as a public. Now this is the URL. Okay, you try this URL in your machine, you can able to open the flowers.jpg. You open the URL. Okay, this is the URL. Whenever you open the URL, so without logging into the cloud account, you can able to access these flowers. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is the way by which you can upload any object and you can change the configuration as a public, and laterly you can do any access. Now if I revoke the property, you can't able to access. Okay, if I set the property from being public access, if I remove the property, then you can't do anything. So this is the way by which you can okay, open and you can do. If you want to download anything, simply go to the object and click on download. It will take you to the download screen. So this is my desktop, my PC desktop, under which I want to keep this copy under the desktop means. So I simply specify the position where I need to download. So simply flowers instead of flowers, I am making it as a flowers ramen. Okay, flowers ramen. Simply save it. Now it is downloaded under my desktop. Okay, so here from the bucket it is downloaded here. This is the way by which I can either perform an upload or I can perform a download. Okay, so please kindly make a note of it. How to make a upload and how to make a download from a public copy. Whenever I upload any file, what I need to do, I want to make it as a public. That allow. Okay, so then only you can able to access. By default, any object does not have a public access. Now if I upload the same thing, okay, in the RAM 666, if I upload the same flower and being it is not public, you can't able to access it. Let me try to upload the same flowers. Click on upload. Now it is successful. So click this flower and this is the URL, a new URL. Copy the URL. Okay. Control C, copy the URL. Control V, paste the URL and click on. Okay. Now it will show you a error. To overcome from that, what you need to do here, you go to the location and make public. Now you can get a access denied error. Why so? Because the bucket, that is the bucket here on top of it where you are having this particular object is not a public. By default, the bucket is a private. Okay, the bucket is a private bucket. So that is the reason why it is going here. This bucket is a private bucket. So if you try to under the bucket, if it is private, if you upload any object and if you make it as a public, it is not possible. Therefore, what you need to do, you want to first make this bucket as a public. Okay. Therefore, for that, go to the permission, and here you can find the manage public bucket policies. You click on edit, you uncheck it, and you simply click on save. It will ask you a message, confirm message, CONFIRM confirm, and you simply click on confirm. Okay, it took some time to update. Initially it is showing unexpected error. Simply click on save. Once again confirm. Now the public access settings updated successfully. Now if you look into the bucket, it took some time to reflect. The objects can be public. You need to receive this message. After that, you can make access to the information. It took some time, okay, to reflect. So once it is made as a public, initially it was not. They have changed it now. Initially, now you can make objects can be made public. Now you can find. After that only, click into that. It will list you the flowers. Choose the flower and click make public. Now you can get a success message. And now after that, if I refresh, you can get the same flower here. Yes, this is the way by which you need to change the settings to make it as a public. Now let me discuss about some additional properties associated. Okay, let me click on the properties tab. Now these are all the options. First option, let me start with storage class. As we have discussed, by default you can find the data will be stored in the standard storage. So here, based upon the storage classes, we have different storage classes. Infrequent access, okay, so storage classes, reduced redundancy, okay. So reduced redundancy is designed for non-critical reproducible data that can be stored with less redundancy than the standard storage. The advantage here is cost effective. The standard storage you want to pay more, whereas in case of reduced redundancy, being here the data is not replicated, okay, so here you want to pay less here in terms of reduced redundancy. And then apart from that, we have another options called standard infrequent access and one zone infrequent access. So if you are not accessing the data frequently, then what happens here is, so here you can store data in infrequent access, okay. So here you need to pay a little bit less because of some low cost hardware. In standard infrequent access, the retrieval time will be a little bit more compared to that of the default standard, okay. So but even though the performance is low, the cost is also less. Then one zone is another type of storage. Okay, so from one zone standard infrequent access, Amazon S3 stores the data object redundantly across multiple geographically availability zones, similar to standard, but it is resilient to loss of availability zones. Okay, the storage class offers greater availability, durability, and resilience than one zone infrequent access. One zone means your data will be available only one. Okay, but in terms of price, it is very less. Please make a note. Okay, so these are all the final storage is Glacier. The storage is suitable for archiving data, where data is less frequently accessed and at the same time whether your application can withstand delay. Okay, like so these are all the ways by which you need to move the data here. You have a standard frequently accessed data need to be stored here. Okay, here it will be stored in more or less equal to 3 availability zones. The data will be replicated in 3 availability zones. Okay, and then here if you move to standard infrequent access, the data which is long lived infrequently access data here too the data will be replicated across. So then here the minimum billable object size is 120. If you have 128 KB of data, then it will be billable. Okay, here it is less cost compared to that of storing in standard. And then one zone means you can find the difference. The number of replica here is 3. Here the number of replica is only 1. One zone infrequent access. Okay. The data if it is found to be non-critical, you can store it. If you lose the data, if there is a problem in this availability zones, if you have a copy on your own, you can use this option. If you want still want less cost, you can move the data into the Glacier. Once again, in Glacier, it ensures a multiple copy, but here being the Glacier storage is made up of low cost, the time taken is very less. Okay, sorry, very high for retrieval. These are all the ways by which you can define the storage: standard, intelligent, infrequent access. You can directly have your data in standard, and you can write a script in such a manner that after the particular time of duration, we can move from standard to standard infrequent access, to one zone from Glaciers like thing. Okay, so this is the way by which you need to set the property. Please make a note. This is storage class. We will have practicals for each and everything, but I will give you a bird's overview. Next, encryption. If you want to protect your data, Amazon provides 2 ways of protection. One is AES. Okay, you can encrypt the data and you can store the data into the Amazon bucket, so that whenever a hacker tries to hack the information, it doesn't get a meaningful information. Being the data is transformed into an unintelligible format. Here, by one whoever has the key that alone can able to access the data. Either you can make use of this AES encryption, or you can make use of another option called AWS Key Management Service. We will discuss about this AWS Key Management Service. Okay. Now, to make data stored in a secure manner, you go for this option of encryption, and then assign optional metadata to the object. Okay, here if you want to assign additional information to the data, click on this metadata. You can have the key and the value pair associated with it. Apart from that, here the default value, we can assign more metadata information. All the options is based upon your application's requirement. If you choose this option, then what you need to do, simply cancel. Okay, you have only one metadata by default, that is your name tag. If you choose additional things in these options, you need to pay more. The next one, tag. Okay, so here tags to enable replication of object. Okay, so here you go for this tagging. Tagging, what is the advantage of going for tagging? So here you have a bucket. Several people's you have a common data in your bucket. Imagine this scenario. This is a bucket where you have organizations data, common data. Okay, let me make it as a bucket as a data. You have several data. Here there are 3 project teams. Project team, okay, belonging to one particular project, team A, team B. So here the teams, the members of the teams are accessing the data associated with that. So here, this is your bucket. Okay, here, whenever you perform, the team members perform read operations or write operations into that, then you want to pay accordingly. So here, you want the management want to identify. Okay, so this is the data bucket. So the management want to identify. So which team, okay, is operating on this data set, what is the cost that is associated with the operation of team A and operation of team B. Team B also doing some actions. Assume that at the end of the month the cost is 1,000 rupees. Let me imagine. Okay, both the team is accessible information. How much of cost associated with the team A? How much of cost associated with the team B access? If you want, then you need to assign a tag to the bucket. So if you assign a tag to the bucket, so based upon this access, okay, now the team may access this information. Access cost is 600. For them it is 400. Like you can get the information. Okay. For that, this option you want to tag the objects, and then based upon that you can organize and manage the access. So this is the real-time application scenario where you need to tag it. If you want to prevent the objects being deleted, okay, you want to use this object log. This is a new feature. If we invoke this feature, if other persons try to delete any one of the objects from the bucket, it will be denied. Okay, if not, if the bucket is given public access, anyone can deny, anyone can drop. So if you want to invoke this remove or deny, you want to invoke this option. These are all the options are associated with this bucket. Okay, property storage class. You can store it according to your application's requirement. If you want to store your data in an encrypted manner, okay, so you can go with this. You can encrypt your data. If you want to add more information to organize data, you can click on metadata and you can assign more names. Okay, if here the organization want to track the access cost by each and every team, then you need to create a tag. And if you want the objects, that is the files that has been uploaded into the bucket, need to be secure, you can invoke this object log. A second type of permissions is permissions. Okay, now we can find access for other AWS account. So if you click on add account, now you can find, you can add account. For example, if Kalyan is having AWS account, I can add a account canonical ID or the email address, and I can assign for Kalyan. I want to assign a read. I want to assign a write bins. I need to set the permissions. Okay. So if I don't want Kalyan to make a write, then I need to assign only read object and read object permissions. Okay, so here, if I want to make it a public access, I click on everyone access. Okay, by everyone read object and write object, if I set, it will be assigned to all. So these are all the ways by which what I need to do. I want to set permissions. Okay, so this is the property associated storage class encryption metadata tags and object. This is the permissions associated, and then okay. Finally, the file format. Okay, the file format that we will discuss later. We will performing some analytics. Okay, it is applicable for performing some analytics using tools like Amazon Asana. Okay, I will let you know later. As of now, these two things is sufficient enough. Okay, is it clear? What are all the things that you can do with?
Yes.
And then another final thing is management. Okay, you can add a life cycle book. We will do all practicals associated with what are all the things that we are discussing. Okay, just first I want to give you a overview. So I want to make the data first stored in the default. From there it need to move to infrequent access. From there it need to move to the Glacier instance, and then you can automate the transition. Okay, you can automate the transition. So based upon your requirement. Okay, for that you need to define a life cycle. Okay, that is the reason behind. So if you want to ensure replication across other regions, you by default, if you upload, what happened here is you have chosen North Virginia as your region. Here, okay, you have this bucket. If you upload the object, default in another availability zone. Okay, for example, here in availability zone 1, availability zone 2, and availability zone. In remaining two availability zones, you have the replica of the copy. You want this replica to be made on the Mumbai data center. That is across region means that is cross region replica. You want to choose this replication, that is cross-region replication. Okay, so for that you want to add a rule, you want to do something. So cross-region, how to perform a cross-region replica, that I will discuss. And you want to do some analytics on top of the data, means you need to invoke. Okay, so what sort of analytics? For example, you can store logs and you can do laterally the analytics on top of it. For that, you need to make use of it. Okay, these are all some matrices. These are all some new features that it is associated. You can get the matrices, who access the information, which information is accessed, what are all, how much of data got transferred, everything. Okay, who access the most information out of n number of files that has been stored in the bucket, which file has been accessed most, which file has been accessed the least, like those sort of matrices you can get. For that, you need to associate a service called CloudWatch here. Okay, at the time of discussion of CloudWatch, I will let you know how to access these matrices. Okay, so these are all reports, report inventory report generation. Okay, so you can generate a report regarding the access either day wise, week wise, or monthly wise using this inventory. These are all the things which is coming under management. Okay. So you will have discussion of each and every one. You just make a note what are the things that it is possible. Okay, this is a bucket. You can create a bucket policy. You can create access control list. These are all for setting permissions to the objects in bucket and to set permissions for the bucket itself. Okay, another property. And now you have another property called versioning your bucket. So versioning is nothing but you upload an object into the bucket. You have uploaded a file. Okay, today. Okay, so it is yesterday 4/1 2019. You have uploaded a file 1 into the bucket. Okay, Raman. The name of the bucket is Raman. You have uploaded. The file contains 100 lines of coding. In 5/1 2019, you did some change into the file 1. You have added some. You did some modifications on 10 lines, and you added some new 10 lines. Okay, now the file is 110 lines with 10 new lines and 10 modifications. If you upload, normally what happens here, the file that is uploaded previously will be overwritten. Now you will be getting the updated information. Instead of that, you want to retain this one. Okay, apart from that, you need to have this as a second copy, means you can apply versions. Let me make it as version 1, version 2, like this. What are all the changes that you did? Okay, will be maintained. It is similar to GitHub. So what is Git? Which is a version control system. If you are aware of DevOps, if you are working in a development environment, the DevOps you are aware. So here Git is a tool which is used for a version control system. It will maintain the history of changes that we made to the source code. Okay, it will keep you the old copy as well as the new copy at any point of time. If you feel that the updations that you made to the file, new 10 lines and updated 10 lines is not working fine, you can revert back to the old version if you have the old copy of the file. For that, if you want to maintain multiple copies of the file, you need to invoke this versioning options. It will keep multiple versions of the object in the same bucket. And in case you can able to retrieve any versions according to your requirement. And second thing, so server access logging. You are having a web server. Okay, you are having a web server. N number of users are accessing the web server. The log that is generated, if you want to store it in a S3 bucket and later analysis, you need to configure this option. The log, server access log. Here you can configure this logs to be stored under a particular location of S3. So for that you need to set this property. server access log property, and laterally by using tools like Athena, uh, like you can make use of tools like Glue to perform any sort of analytics on top of it. So this is the option, server access logging. Then this option that I told, okay, static web hosting. Static web hosting is nothing but if you want to configure this bucket as a static web server, you can use this option, static web hosting. Then instead of server level logging, if you want to record some object level logging, okay, so here you have stored multiple objects here. Here you want the information associated, log information associated with a particular object instance. Now you need to invoke this object level logging. So automatically what happens, what are all the activity that has been done on a particular object will be logged, and this already aware that we can able to store the in a encrypted manner. Okay, so these are all some basic properties. And then here tag, then transfer acceleration. Transfer acceleration means, so if you are accessing the data, so here if you invoke this feature by applying some mechanisms, what Amazon is did is it will reduce the time of retrieval if you invoke this option. Okay, if you want to transfer the file to and from your bucket, so here it uses the concept called here you have a region availability zone, edge locations. We already discussed. We have another thing called edge caching. So if we invoke this option, okay, transfer acceleration, then here this is your bucket. Okay, this is your bucket in US. You are from Madurai, the machine from Madurai. If you want to make a upload, if you want to make a download, using the feature called edge cache, here the time taken for uploading and downloading will be still less if we invoke this transfer acceleration. That is how. Okay, so event, receive notification on the event. It's one of the important properties. So you are the bucket owner. You created a bucket. Raman is the bucket owner. So whenever Saravanan and Kalyan has been given some access, read and write access, Saravanan is uploading some file. Kalyan is downloading some file. That action need to be notified to the Raman. For that, you need to invoke this. Okay, event. What are all the event that it is associated that will be notified to the concerned bucket owner. And finally, request or page. Here, the owner of the bucket is Raman, whereas Saravanan and Kalyan is performing frequent updations and they are performing a frequent retrieval of information. All the actions associated with the uploading and retrieval will result in a cost. Who need to pay for that? In this, by default, all the cost will be here need to be taken care by Raman. Under the Raman account, the access cost will be added. Instead of that, if the cost associated with Saravanan need to be access, need to be added with the Saravanan account, and the cost for access respect to Kalyan need to be added to Kalyan AWS account means, so you need to set these requester pays options. Instead of the bucket owner, the requester, okay, instead of a bucket owner, the requester of the bucket will pay the fee associated with the action. Okay. If you simply enable the request pay, requester will pay for the request and data transfer. Okay. So whenever a requester phase is enabled, then you can't make this access as a public. Okay, you want to set the permissions so that the particular requester alone need to be paid. So these are all the some additional properties. So transfer acceleration, requester phase, and events that you can set. By default, all the thing now we can find is disabled. If you want to enable, you can enable it, and if you enabled all the option, you need to pay more accordingly. Yes, these are all some things associated with your discussion on the bucket. Saravanan, Kalyan, is it clear?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So these are all overview of what are all the things that we can do with bucket. So we will practice each and everything separately. Okay, so let me discuss about this ELB, auto scaling, and also these are all the things. This is associated with real-time implementation. So load balancing. Now what we are going to discuss here, we are going to discuss about this second part of our agenda. ELB. ELB stands for Elastic Load Balancer. So what is load balancer? Assume you have a web server. With one CPU and one GB of RAM memory. So here we are going to now discuss about load balancer, auto scaling, CloudWatch, and SNS. All the four closely integrated with. These are all the four key services. We are going to discuss some theory about this load balancer, auto scaling, CloudWatch, SNS with respect to. We are going to set up a lab. Okay, imagine you have a web server. You have a single web server with one CPU and 1 GB of RAM. With this, it is assumed that it can able to support 1000 user requests per second. If the number of user requests increases to 1200, what happens here? Whether the web server can work up to the efficiency and that it handle with 1000 user requests? No, it will be little bit degraded in its efficiency. Also because its capability is it can able to handle effectively if it number of users is 1000, because being the number of users being little bit more with the same amount of resources, it will degrade in performance. Now we assume that it will work, but it will have performance degradation. Now assume the number of requests is more beyond it what it is capable, 1500. In this case, the web server get caught with panic and it get crashed. To overcome from this, what happened here? What we need to do? We need to add more resources. We need to add additional resources. Here, the process of adding the resources is called scaling. There are two types of scaling. One is horizontal scaling. Another one is vertical scaling. Here, what is first? Let me discuss about vertical scaling and the drawback, and let me move on to horizontal scaling. What is vertical scaling? Now you have 1500 requests. For that, you need 2 microprocessor and 2 GB of RAM memory to accommodate this much of request. Therefore, what I can do within the same machine, I can add 1 microprocessor and additional 1 GB of RAM. Now I have 2 microprocessor and 2 GB of RAM. If I add these additional resources into the same system, now I can able to withstand up to maximum of 2000 user requests. The process of adding additional resources within the same server is called vertical scaling. And what is the drawback associated with the vertical scaling? Here, your server need to have, if let me imagine, if it is a physical server, you can't go and add the CPU. Now you have assume that you have 2500. Now you need to have 3 microprocessor and 3 GB of RAM. It is not at all possible to go and add the microprocessor and go and add the RAM memory. So because the server should have enough slot to accommodate the new additions. If it does not have enough slot, you can't able to add. That is the problem associated with a physical setup. Okay, a traditional physical server couldn't accommodate this vertical securely beyond a certain extent because of limitation in number of slots, the hardware slot associated with the addition. Therefore, what you can do, if the load increases, instead of going up with this vertical scaling, I can go with a concept called horizontal scaling. Here you have one server with one microprocessor and 1 GB of RAM. Your load increases now. Now you need to establish another server with another microprocessor, another 1 GB of RAM. Now you have two servers. Okay, each server can able to accommodate 1000 user requests per second. Altogether, it can accommodate 2000 user requests per second. So now the user is trying to access the information. So here we have information associated with the user request distributed across these two servers. Imagine one web server 1 and web server 2. So we need a guy who you need to take the request and you need to redirect the request either to web server 1 or web server 2. For that, we need to go up with the concept called ELB, a service called load balancer. ELB need to be configured. Elastic load balancer, what it will do? It will receive the user request and based upon the current load of the web servers, that is backend, that is backend of it, whether web server 1 or web server 2, the user request will be redirected. So the load balancer is evenly balances the number of incoming requests across to multiple web servers. Okay. Now the number of requests increases to 2500. Now even though you have two web servers, it is not possible to accommodate the increased requests. Therefore, what you need to have, you need to launch an additional web server 3. Now the additional web server, how it can be launched? This process can be automated. Based upon the current workload, you can add additional web server. For that, here the process of adding the new servers or process of adding additional resources has been termed as scalar. Okay, so now it is assumed that you are how the number of requests is 2500. You have three web servers. Now the request downs to 500. Okay, whether you need three servers, it is not at all needed. This can be accommodated using a single web server one. Now in this case, whenever your workload downs, what you need to do, you want to relieve the underutilized resources. Okay, for that, if the number of CPUs and number of RAMs that is not utilized need to be relieved. Okay, the process of releasing the underutilized resources has been termed as scale down. This process of scale up and scale down can be automated using a service called auto scaling here in cloud. Okay, so if you write a script in such a manner that to look into the number of requests for that particular web server and based upon the workload, either you can add the resources or you can relieve the resources. Therefore, yes, auto scaling works integrated with this ELB, elastic load balancer. Elastic load balancer, what it will do? Here, the elastic load balancer, based upon the current workload, will inform the auto scaling whether to add a server or to remove a server. Once the server has been added, all the user requests, incoming user requests, will be evenly distributed across all the servers. Thus, maintaining the workload evenly distributed across all web servers. Okay, that is the concept behind this load balancer and auto scale. Yes, who will responsible if I want to make this thing automated? Okay, who will responsible for monitoring? Here, the machine is lagging in CPU. The machine is lagging in RAM memory. For that, I need to use of another service called CloudWatch. CloudWatch is a monitoring service. It will monitor the resources. For example, it monitors CPU, it monitors RAM memory based upon CPU monitoring. Imagine we write a script. If average CPU utilization is greater than 99%, okay, you can add a new CPU or add a new CPU. Like here, this is the script that we need to write. What happens? The CloudWatch will monitor a particular CPU associated with the server. If this particular condition has been met out, automatically the action of adding new CPU will be initiated. We can write a script. So if average CPU utilization, now you have two CPUs. If average CPU utilization is less than 40%, you can write a script to release one CPU, release one CPU. Therefore, whenever this criteria are met out, then the underutilized CPU will be removed. So that we need a service to monitor the current utilization of the associated resources based upon the action can be initiated by the auto scaling. So you need to integrate CloudWatch in this case. Okay, CloudWatch, you want to create a CloudWatch alarm. The CloudWatch alarm will look for the messages, and we need to define a condition. Based upon the condition, the action will be invoked. Whether the you added a server or you added a CPU or you relieved the CPU, then accordingly you need to pay for that current resource utilization. To which extent that you are using the resources, accordingly you need to pay for that. Therefore, the information, if a new server is added or if existing server has been released, that information need to be notified to the administrator. Why? So because administrator need to aware of how much of cost that is incurring for that particular activity. For that, we need to make use of a service called SNS. SNS stands for Simple Notification Service. Okay, so you need to invoke this SNS. The SNS, what it will do, it will simply notify the concerned persons regarding addition. What are all the actions that it is configured to be notified, it will be notified. So let me imagine here Raman is the maintainer of the server. It will notify Raman, your server being it is overloaded, auto scaling added a new server. Therefore, currently your environment is currently coming up with new two servers. Like you want to pay for two servers, or you want to pay for three servers. Like the notification will be made to the end user by either by using a email notification or by using a SMS notification. Both the thing can be done by using a AWS service called simple notification service. So this is the scenario where we can make use of load balancer, auto scaling, CloudWatch, and notification. And we will discuss each and everything and separately how to configure CloudWatch, how to configure ELB, how to configure SNS, and how to configure auto scaling. At the end, we will integrate all the things as a single entity. Is it making sense? Do you have any doubt? Hi guys.
Yes, sir. It's making sense.
If you feel that it is going fast, it is going in the right frequency. I may want to slow down, or it is going in a right manner that you can able to grasp.
Yeah, a little bit. Slow down a little bit.
Okay, so during the lab we can have a slowdown, but being it is a theory, I want to make it each and everything to be covered within the specific time. It seems a little bit slow. Now, is it okay? Why you need to use ELP? What is the reason behind using auto scaling? What's the use of CloudWatch? What is the use of SNS? Saravnan, I think so. You are using this thing in your environment, load balancer.
Actually, I haven't worked with the AWS environments. Generally, I am aware of what is a load balance. In the
Yeah,
database, I use it as a FI for the load balancing. I am
yeah,
aware
yeah,
of the
yeah.
concept.
Yeah. Everything. What is the reason? The single reason behind that configuring all these things is to ensure high availability of your data. That is 24 cross access to your information. The reason behind that is HA, which is nothing but high availability to ensure data availability. 24 cross 7 access to the data. That is the reason behind that.
How to
So
write a script for auto scaling?
yeah, so here
Which kind of script on that?
yeah, so there is a guide-based mode using which here you can write the script. I will let you know. For example, you want to invoke a matrix CPU utilization, and it will ask what is the condition associated. If average, it will ask average. greater than, less than, or equal to minimum utilization, maximum utilization, like matrices will be given. You want to choose the average, which if it is a greater than, you need to choose a percentage, 99 percentage. Here there will be action. So action, there will be add or there will be remove. Right? Everything will be a guy based. No need to worry about that.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so if you want to do it programmatically, you can use normal shell script. You can use a Python script like this. Normally, developer go for this. So you can make it using console itself. In console, you can make use of the tool coming with this CloudWatch to write the script. No need to worry about writing scripts. Yes?
Yeah, that.
Yeah. So now let me start a web server. Okay, what we need to configure the Elastic Load Balancer. What we need two web servers. In terms of load balancer has been concerned, there are two types of load balancer here. One is application load balancer and second one is network load balancer. So here we are focusing on application load balancer. So what we need, we are going to create two web servers, web server 1 and web server 2. So you need to configure a load balancer, ELB, and you need to attach this web server to this ELB. After that, so whenever the user submit a request, ELB will get the request in front end and it will redirect the request to web server 1 or web server 2. So this is the flow associated with this based upon the current workflow. So first you need to create two web servers. So here for this what we can use, either you can use either Amazon Linux AMI or Ubuntu, both you know how to make use of it. Based upon that you create two web servers and after that create a Elastic Load Balancer. Under the load balancer you want to configure a listener. Okay, listener. The listener will listen for the traffic. Where being it is a web server, the listener will listen for the traffic under the following port number HTTP, that is 80. So here, whenever there is a request for port number, listener receives the request and it will redirect, it will give back to ELB and then the ELB based upon the workload of web server 1 or web server 2, for example, if there are 1000 user requests, the request will be evenly split 500, 500 across these two web servers. Okay, so it won't have 900 requests on one web server and 100 requests on another web server. Web request has been evenly redistributed. So if you add a new web server, okay, because of increased load, if you add a new web server, LB what it will do, assume that now the request is 2500 instance, it will take and it will evenly redistribute all these, okay, 800, 850, 850, like 800, like this request will be evenly distributed. So this is the activity done by load balancer. So you want to create a load balancer and you want to associate a listener. Being it is a web server, it needs to be associated with the port and the user request, it will receive under all the user requests coming with the port, which will be received and it will be performing a load balancing activity. Okay, so this is the practical associated with that. So what we can do, we can continue with this practical on tomorrow's session. Tomorrow morning we will be having our session at the same time 9. So we will be having all the things that is discussed will be done practically. So first we will go through the first level of all the practicals and after that we go in depth. Okay. What is the plan for tomorrow's session? So we will be discussing how to configure a load balancer, how to configure a simple notification services, then how to configure auto scaling. All the things that we have discussed theoretically will be done practically. And after that, how to integrate all the things will be shown to you. And we can get back to the S3 once again. Once all the activity has been over, we get back to the S3. Okay, like the process.
Sure.
So what you can do, if you already have an account with you, today you try to create the two web server with Amazon Linux. I
Sure.
already shared the recordings with you. How to create a web server, you try with this. Yes. So that once I did it tomorrow, you can also do the same thing. You can practice all the same thing with your machine concurrently. Yes, Saravanan Kalyan, can you make it?
Yes, sir. We'll try.
Okay, you please kindly create your account. I think so both by the time should have created account. Yes,
Yes, I do have.
yes, please. You want to practice. You want to practice a lot. Yes, you will forget everything. You please a humble request. You please create the account.
Sure.
Yeah, Kalyan, you transfer the payment.
Yeah, I'll be doing it by tomorrow morning if it's okay.
No,
Your my time.
no issue. Thanks,
Sure.
thanks, Kalyan Saravanan. We will be meeting again on tomorrow with the
Sure.
practical. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.